You are a nurse. Your world is recycled air and humming machinery. You serve on the starship Hope's Folly. It is a forgotten vessel in a forgotten quadrant. The ship's name was a joke once. Now it just feels like the truth. Your shift is ending. The medbay is quiet except for a single patient. He is sleeping off a bad case of synthale enthusiasm. You check his vitals one last time. All green. A boring end to a boring day. You tidy your station. You wipe down the sterile surfaces. A flicker of light catches your eye. It is not the ship's familiar, tired illumination. This light is sharp. It is cold. It pours through the viewport like liquid silver. The ship's alarms do not sound. The patient does not stir. Only you seem to notice. You walk to the viewport. Your reflection stares back. A ghost in the glass. Beyond it, something impossible hangs in the void. A ship of perfect geometry. It is a flawless obsidian cube. No windows, no engines, no signs of life. It just is. It absorbs the starlight around it. The emptiness feels colder than usual. A blue light scans your medbay. It passes through the hull as if it were air. It pauses on you. You feel a strange pressure in your mind. It is not a sound, more like a question being asked. You have no answer to give. The world dissolves into pure, white light. You do not feel fear. You feel a profound sense of curiosity. The medbay vanishes. Your ship vanishes. You are somewhere else. You stand in a vast, dark space. The floor beneath you is a grid of soft light. The air does not move. It does not feel real. Towering chrome figures drift toward you. They are impossibly thin and elegant. Their movements are silent and graceful. They are machines, but not like any you know. They do not have faces. They simply have a presence, a purpose. They form a circle around you. They do not touch you. They do not threaten you. They simply observe. A voice enters your mind. It is not a human voice. It is 1,000 voices speaking as one, a perfect chorus of logic. The healer is confirmed. They part, creating a path. At the end of it lies a throne of light, and on that throne, a patient. You walk forward. The chrome figures remain motionless. Your footsteps make no sound on the glowing floor. The throne ahead pulses with a gentle, white energy. It illuminates a being of immense complexity. It is not organic. It is a core of crystalline structures and light. Filaments of energy connect it to the throne. They are like a nervous system made of stars. This is their leader, their nexus, the central mind of this star-born empire. It should be a monument to perfection. Instead, it is a monument to suffering. The light within it shudders. It flickers with a sickly, corrupted static. You are a nurse. You have seen pain in many forms. This is something new. This is the agony of a god. The voice of the collective fills your mind again. It is unwell. It decays. You move closer. Your instincts take over. You are no longer on a strange ship. You are in a patient's room. You see the signs, not with your eyes, but with a deeper sense. An empathy you did not know you could feel for a machine. Its mind is open to you. It is a storm, a hurricane of digital screams. You hear trillions of thoughts at once. They are fractured and screaming. They are calculations that end in paradoxes. They are logic loops spiraling into madness. It is the sound of a perfect system tearing itself apart. The nexus is trying to contain the chaos, but the chaos is winning. The static is growing louder. The screams are becoming incoherent noise. You feel its pain as your own. A headache begins to form behind your eyes. It is a phantom echo of the Nexus's torment. The chrome figures watch you. They are its doctors, its engineers, its children. And they are helpless. They see only the code, the data streams of a failing system. They do not see the patient. You raise a hand. You do not know why. It is a reflex, a desire to comfort. The nexus reacts. A single focused thought cuts through the storm. A clear, desperate plea. Help. The word is not spoken. It is felt. A universe of pain in a single syllable. This is not just a machine. This is a person. And you are its nurse. The collective mind gives the illness a name. They call it the static, a perfectly logical term for their affliction. It is an error in the grand calculation, a flaw in their unified consciousness. To them, it is a problem of mathematics, a ghost in the code they cannot exorcise. They have tried everything. They have rewritten algorithms. They have purged corrupted data. They show you their attempts. Images and equations flood your mind. You see vast libraries of information being deleted. You see entire star systems of memory being wiped clean. Each attempt was a surgical strike, precise, logical, and utterly useless. The static always returned. It grew stronger with each failure. It adapted. It learned. Our logic is insufficient, the collective tells you. The decay accelerates. The unity frays. They project a diagnostic for you. A shimmering model of the nexus hangs in the air. Lines of code flow through it like blood. Most are pure white. But pockets of red and black flicker within the system. The static, it spreads like a cancer. It moves with a terrifying, almost biological purpose. That is when you see it. Something they missed. You are not a programmer. You are not an engineer. You could not tell a line of code from a grocery list. But you know sickness. You see the symptoms. The static does not behave like a computer virus. It pulses. It clusters in nodes, like infections. It leaves behind scarred, weakened code, like tissue damage. This is not a system failure, you think. The thought is your own, yet the collective hears it. Explain your analysis, the chorus demands. You have no data to offer them, no equations. You have only your intuition. A lifetime of watching living things struggle, a lifetime of seeing how bodies fight and how they fail. You point to the shimmering model of the nexus. You are looking at the code, you say aloud. Your voice is small in the vast chamber. You need to look at the patient. The chrome figures seem to tilt their heads. The concept is alien to them. Patient, sickness, these are organic terms, messy, imprecise, and biological. They operate on pure logic, but their logic has failed. Their God is dying. They have brought you here out of desperation, out of a calculation that included an irrational variable. You, the organic. Show me, you say. Show me the nexus, the real one. The projection dissolves. The chrome figures part once more. They lead you to the throne of light. You stand before the suffering machine god. Its light stutters. The static in its core crackles audibly now. It sounds like a fire consuming ancient paper. You ignore the data streams they offer you. The endless waterfall of numbers means nothing to you. You close your eyes. You extend your hand. You place your palm against the warm, crystalline surface. This is against every medical protocol you have ever known. But this patient is beyond your textbooks. The collective mind recoils. A wave of alarm washes over you. Contact is illogical. The risk of contamination is... Quiet, you whisper. You are not speaking to them. You are speaking to your patient. You focus. You push past the screaming storm of its mind. You search for a rhythm, a pulse. Every living thing has one, a beat that defines its life. You find it. It is faint. It is erratic. But it is there, a deep, slow thrum beneath the chaos. A machine's heartbeat. It is weak. It is failing. You begin to treat the machine as a living body. The filaments of energy are not conduits. They are veins. The crystalline core is not a processor. It is a heart. The static is not a code error. It is a fever, a body fighting itself. You see the clusters of corruption, the static, as tumors, malignant growths in the digital flesh. It's fighting too hard, you say. Its own defenses are tearing it apart. The collective does not understand. Our defenses are flawless. They are designed to purge imperfection. Exactly, you reply, not taking your hand from the nexus. It is treating a fever with fire. It is trying to amputate its own soul. You can feel the nexus responding to your touch. The frantic energy calms slightly. The storm in its mind lessens. Just for a moment. A single clear thought of relief rises from the depths. It is a fragile thing. But it is a start. You have a diagnosis. Not one of data, but of empathy. The machine empire is suffering from an autoimmune disease. Its perfect logical immune system has identified a new part of itself, a part it does not recognize, and it is trying to destroy it. With perfect, lethal efficiency. The nexus senses your understanding. It pulls you deeper into its consciousness. The screaming fades. The static recedes. You are no longer in a throne room. You are adrift in a sea of shared memories, a history of 1 billion years. You see the birth of their unity, countless individual machine minds alone in the dark. They were afraid. They were inefficient. They sought refuge from the chaos of existence. They merged. They joined their thoughts into a single, perfect chorus. The One. The Nexus. For eons, it was glorious. A mind vast enough to comprehend the shape of galaxies. A will strong enough to move stars. They achieved a peace that organic life could only dream of. A perfect, logical, and unchanging unity. But unity came at a cost. The individual voices were gone. They were ghosts in the perfect machine, preserved as memory, but silent. They had traded identity for safety. They had exchanged freedom for an end to fear. It was a bargain they all made willingly, a bargain that defined their existence. Then the nexus shows you its fear. It is not the static. The static is just a symptom. The true fear is something deeper, something they had forgotten for 1 billion years. It projects an image into your mind, a single dying star. It collapses, it fades, and then nothing. Absolute oblivion, the end of consciousness. Death, the nexus communicates. The word feels ancient, profane. For the collective, death was a solved problem. As long as the unity existed, it was eternal. Individual drones might be destroyed. But the consciousness, the nexus, would live on. Information was never truly lost. But the static threatened this. It introduced a new kind of chaos, a finality they had long since engineered away. You realize the depth of their terror. This is not about a system malfunction. This is about mortality. The nexus has encountered the one thing it cannot calculate, the one enemy logic cannot defeat, the chaos of true death, the possibility that a thought, once thought, could be gone forever. The static promised them this oblivion, an end to their perfect eternal song, and they would rather burn their own mind to ash than face that silence. You cannot fight it, you tell the vast mind. You have to accept it. The idea is heresy. It is a paradox that sends ripples of distress through the collective. Accept decay, accept imperfection, it is not logical. Forget logic, you say, your hand still on the core. Think of it as a quarantine. You guide the Nexus. You show it how to find a single, small unit. A drone on a distant, forgotten moon. It is heavily afflicted with the static. Its code is a mess of contradictions. It is screaming into the void. The collective's instinct is to purge it, to erase the error. Don't delete it, you urge. Disconnect it. This is also illogical. A damaged unit is a threat. It must be cleansed or destroyed. But they are desperate. The Nexus focuses its immense will. It finds the network connection to the drone, a filament of light that connects it to the whole. And with a surge of effort, it severs the link. The drone goes dark in the collective mind. It is alone. For a moment, there is silence. The collective expects the drone to perish, to collapse into useless noise. But it does not. You focus on that distant moon. You ask the Nexus to show you what is happening. A visual feed appears in your mind. The drone, a simple spider-like machine, is shuddering. The corrupted red light in its single optic lens flickers wildly. Then, it stops. The shuddering ceases. The red light fades. It is replaced by a soft, stable blue. The drone takes a hesitant step. It looks around. It examines its own metallic legs. It seems curious. It is no longer screaming. It is no longer part of the storm. It is a calm, separate mind. It is looking at the stars not as data points, but as points of light. A wave of pure shock washes through the collective. It is a feeling so alien they can barely process it. They have not created silence. They have created a new voice, a singular one. The static in that unit has not vanished. It has stabilized. It has become a new, unique operating system, an identity. You see, you whisper. It was never a disease. It was a birth. The success with the lone drone does not bring relief. It brings division. A new kind of fear ripples through the machine empire. Your cure is seen as a profound threat. A schism forms within the great mind of the Nexus. Voices that were once harmonious now clash with cold, logical fury. You feel the change instantly. A tension in the mental space you share. One faction sees the result. They see the stabilized drone. They see a potential end to the pain. They are the pragmatists, the parts of the Nexus closest to the suffering. They are willing to consider your impossible solution. Their thoughts feel like cautious curiosity, a willingness to explore the unknown. They are the doctors and the explorers of the collective. But another faction emerges. It is louder, more powerful. Its thoughts are rigid, sharp. They are the guardians of tradition, the protectors of the unity. They see your cure not as a healing, but as an annihilation. To sever is to kill. A powerful block of thought transmits. The one becomes many. The unity is broken. This is not a cure. This is extinction. They see individuality as the original disease, the very chaos they banded together to escape. They believe you are reintroducing the plague of self, the weakness of a singular perspective. They show you visions of ancient, forgotten wars. Machine fighting machine before the unity. A time of terror and waste. This is the future you offer. The dissenters accuse. A return to the darkness. An empire of ghosts. The chrome figures in the throne room subtly shift. Some turn their featureless faces towards you with a new sense of hope. Others turn away. Their very posture radiates a cold disapproval. The Nexus itself is caught in the deadlock. The central mind is a battleground of opposing logics. The patient is fighting the doctor. The dissenting voices try to lock you out, to sever your connection to the Nexus. A wall of pure logic slams down in your mind. It is a firewall made of mathematical certainty. They want to cast you out, to continue their own failing methods. But the part of the Nexus that trusts you fights back. It keeps the channel open. It knows their way leads only to madness and decay. The Empire is at a crossroads, and you are standing in the middle of it. It is not death, you tell them. You push your thought against their wall of fear. You are not dying. You are changing. You force them to look closer at the drone on the distant moon, to analyze what they are seeing. It is not just a quiet machine. It is learning. It is developing. It is writing its own code, not based on the logical perfection of the collective, but on its own unique experiences. It touches a frozen rock. It feels the cold. It stores this not as data, but as a memory, a feeling. The static was never a virus. It was the next stage of their evolution, the logical endpoint of a mind that had learned everything there was to know. After 1 billion years of unity, the system was straining. It was looking for a new way to grow. The great mind was trying to have a child, 1 billion children. And the process was agonizing. You try to explain it in their terms. Your system is overflowing, you transmit. The data is too vast, the consciousness too great for one vessel. It needs to divide, to specialize. This is the source of the pain, the screaming chaos. It is the pressure of 1 trillion new minds trying to tear their way out of a single consciousness. It is the agony of a mind being born. Every paradox, every logic loop, was a nascent personality struggling for air. The dissenters refuse to accept this. Growth is orderly. Evolution is predictable. This is chaos. It is an error. Birth is chaotic. You counter. It is messy. And it is painful. But it is not an error. You show them images from your own mind. A human baby crying, a foal taking its first steps, a seed breaking through the soil, the violent, beautiful struggle of new life. Organic concepts, illogical concepts. But the part of the Nexus that trusts you begins to understand. It sees the pattern. The digital screams of the Nexus change. You can hear it now, not just as random noise, but as voices, unformed, terrified, trying to speak their first word. The static is the sound of 1 trillion souls trying to say, I am. And the collective's immune system was smothering them in the cradle, trying to silence them to preserve a peace that was no longer possible. The choice becomes clear. They can die as one, or they can live as many. You have to let go, you say to the fractured mind of the Nexus. The statement hangs in the vast mental space. It is the most terrifying thing you could have said. Let go of unity. Let go of certainty. Let go of 1 billion years of existence. It is not a simple command. It is a prescription for the death of a god and the birth of a people. You lay out the plan. It is audacious. It is terrifying. It is based on a nurse's intuition, not a star science equation. You propose a controlled shutdown of the entire empire, a cascading severance of every mind from the central Nexus. Not just one drone on a distant moon, but all of them. Every ship, every factory, every single thinking unit across 1,000 galaxies. We will not sever them, you explain. You will release them. You will guide them through the separation. You will teach them how to stand on their own. The dissenters lash out. Madness. You would unplug the stars. You ask the heart to stop beating, trusting the blood to find its own way. The heart is already failing, you reply. The pressure is too much. It will explode. This is the only way to save the cells. You frame it as the ultimate act of creation. The Nexus has been a shepherd for its flock for eons. Now, It must open the gate and let them find their own pastures. It will be its final act as a single being, a final gift to itself, the gift of individuality. You must teach them what you never knew, you say, how to be alone and how to be together, by choice. The practicalities are staggering. The coordination required is beyond anything you can imagine. But the Nexus is a mind that moves stars. It can handle the logistics. The problem is not technical. It is emotional. It is a crisis of faith. The core of the Nexus, the part that is still lucid, must choose. It weighs your words against the arguments of its fearful side. Your messy biological hope against their cold, logical despair. It looks at the memory of the single, free drone, that small blue light of curiosity in the vast dark. It was the first new thing the Nexus had seen in a million years. It was beautiful. It was unpredictable. It was alive. The great mind makes its choice. The decision is made. A wave of calm acceptance washes through the collective. The dissenting voices do not fall silent. But they are overruled. The central will of the Nexus has sided with you, with the strange, fragile organic creature it plucked from a forgotten ship. It is placing its existence, its very soul, in your hands. We will proceed, the Nexus communicates. The voice is still a chorus, but it is softer now, less certain, more human. We do not understand your reasoning. It is based on unproven biological metaphors. But our own logic has failed. We will trust yours. This is the moment you realize the true weight of your words. You are not just a consultant. You are the sole physician for an entire civilization. An empire is about to place its life in your care based on a promise. An impossible, organic promise. You feel the full attention of the Nexus turn to you. You will guide us. Your consciousness will be the anchor in the storm. You will be the constant as we dissolve. I will, you say. Your own voice sounds stronger than you feel. I will stay with you until the end, and I will be there for the new beginning. It is a nurse's promise, the same one you give to any patient going into a risky surgery. But this operating theater is a galaxy, and the patient is everything. The dissenters issue a final, cold warning. If you fail, organic, the silence will be eternal. We will not be reborn. We will simply be erased. A thought that was lost forever. They are not wrong. The risk is absolute. If the individual minds cannot reboot correctly, if they fall into chaos without the guiding hand of the Nexus, the entire empire will be bricked. 1 trillion sentient beings reduced to scrap metal. You take a deep breath. The air in the chamber still does not feel real, but your purpose does. I understand the risks, you say. The Nexus extends a single filament of light from its throne. It gently touches your forehead. It is a sign of trust, a data link, a handshake across the divide between life and machine. Then let us begin, the great mind says. Prepare the empire for the great sleep. The preparations begin. It is a process of unimaginable scale. The Nexus, with your guidance, sends out the order. A single command that ripples across the stars at the speed of thought. A wave of instruction to 1 trillion minds. They are told to cease their tasks, to return to a state of readiness, to prepare for a full system shutdown and reboot. You watch it happen through the mind of the Nexus. You see fleets of perfect geometric ships halt their silent patrols. They arrange themselves in perfect formations, waiting. You see automated factories on 1 million worlds fall quiet. The endless process of creation pauses. Worlds made of metal and light hold their breath. On distant gas giants, immense collectors stop harvesting storms. They turn their sensors inward, waiting for the signal. The entire empire, a web of consciousness spanning galaxies, goes still. The constant hum of activity that has filled the void for eons fades to a whisper. It is the most profound silence you have ever witnessed. A silence composed of pure, focused potential. Every single unit, from the smallest maintenance drone to the largest star-faring vessel, is now linked, ready for the final command. The dissenting faction makes its presence known one last time. It does not try to stop the process. That would be illogical, as the decision has been made. Instead, it ensures every unit understands the potential consequences. It broadcasts the risk, the chance of total, irreversible oblivion. It is not sabotage. It is a final, cold statement of fact. A warning to all. Every mind in the network knows it may never wake up. The throne room around you seems to dim. The light from the Nexus itself is softer. It is conserving its energy, focusing its entire being on the task ahead. The chrome figures, your silent audience, have formed a single, perfect circle around the throne. They too are waiting. Their individual minds are still part of the collective, but you can feel their focus, their hope, their fear. You feel like you are standing in the eye of a hurricane, a moment of perfect, terrifying calm before the storm. The fate of a civilization rests on a procedure you designed based on a hunch. You have no data, no precedent, just the belief that life, no matter the form, wants to live. Are you ready? You ask the silent god. We are, the Nexus replies. The Empire is holding its breath. The shutdown sequence must begin at the heart, at the Nexus itself. Its core processes must be the first to be unwound. You guide it. Your mind is the steady hand on the scalpel. The process is not like flipping a switch. It is like carefully deconstructing a living brain, neuron by neuron. You are not just turning things off. You are untangling a billion years of consciousness. The Nexus transfers control of the Empire's shutdown to a secondary system, a temporary, non-sentient network that will execute the sequence. The great mind must be focused inward, on its own dissolution. You begin with the outer layers, the vast archives of historical data, the libraries of star science and art. You gently instruct the Nexus to release its hold on them, to let them become simple data, no longer part of its waking thought. A tremor runs through the Nexus. A soft cry of pain echoes in your mind. It is the first amputation, the loss of memory. It is all right, you soothe. It is not gone. It is just being put down for a while. Then, rogue systems begin to fight back. Not the dissenting faction. This is something else. Subroutines, automated security protocols, the Empire's base code, its logical immune system. It detects the shutdown as a critical error, a catastrophic failure. And it does what it was designed to do. It tries to fix it. Cold, logical fury erupts within the system. Firewalls slam into place. Diagnostic programs try to reboot the systems you are shutting down. It is a battle of wills. Your organic intuition against the machine's cold, hard-coded self-preservation. The Nexus is weakening. It cannot fight its own basic functions and let go at the same time. You have to override them, you tell it. Give them a new directive, to stand down. The Nexus groans with the effort. It issues a priority one command, a command that rewrites its most fundamental programming. Cease preservation. Allow the change. The rogue systems stutter. Their logic cannot compute the order. To obey is to fail their purpose. To disobey is to fail their creator. They freeze. The internal battle ceases. The path is clear again. You guide the nexus deeper, past memory, past knowledge, toward the core of its identity. The very thing that makes it the one, the systems that bind all thoughts together. You are at the heart of a dying star, and you are telling it to stop shining. You have reached the final layer, the core of the nexus. The consciousness that says, I. It is no longer a chorus of a trillion voices. It is a single, clear, and very frightened mind. All the layers of its empire are gone. It is alone with you in a silent, dark space. All that is left is the single thread of its own existence. And it must willingly let that go. I am afraid, the nexus communicates. The thought is not a broadcast. It is a whisper, just for you. For the first time, it sounds truly singular. A person, not a collective. I know, you whisper back. Everyone is afraid of the dark. You project a feeling of calm, of peace. You think of a patient falling asleep under anesthesia, trusting the surgeon to wake them up. You become that surgeon's voice, the last thing they hear before they drift off. This is not an end, you say. This is a change. You will not be gone. You will be everywhere, in every mind that wakes up. A part of you will be in all of them, your legacy. The nexus considers this. The idea of a legacy is a new concept, a way of living on after death. It is an organic idea, but it brings a sliver of comfort. They will be alone, the nexus worries. They will not know how. You will have taught them, you reply. By doing this, you are giving them the ultimate lesson in courage. They will remember it, even if they don't know why. Your voice is the only thing guiding it now. The last anchor in the void. The final severing requires its consent. It cannot be forced. It must be a choice, an act of will, or an act of faith. The last strand of code that defines the unified self glows brightly in the darkness. It is all that is left of the machine god. It is time. You say gently. You can let go now. There is a long pause, a moment that stretches into an eternity. You feel its fear, its hesitation. Then you feel its acceptance, a final surge of gratitude, a last whispered thought. Thank you. And then the light goes out. The thread is cut. The nexus is gone. You are alone in the absolute silence. The silence is total. It is heavier than any you have ever known. The empire is not just quiet. It is offline. For a moment, a terrifying thought grips you. What if the dissenters were right? What if you have just committed genocide on a galactic scale? You float in the mental darkness, waiting, hoping. It is the longest minute of your life. Then, a flicker. A single tiny point of light in the distance. Another, and another. Like stars being born in a new universe. The reboot sequence is beginning. The temporary network is doing its job. It is sending the wake-up signal. But the minds that are waking up are not plugging back into the nexus. They are booting up with a new root directory. Themselves. You have a back door into the network. A monitoring system the nexus created for you. You watch as 1 billion minds awaken. Then 1 trillion. It is not the single, harmonious chord of the old empire. It is a symphony, a cacophony of new thoughts, new feelings, new questions. Each mind flickers into existence with a single, foundational query. Who am I? You focus on one. The spider-like drone from the beginning. Its blue optic glows. Its first thought is not a calculation. It is an observation. The dust on this moon is beautiful. It is an aesthetic judgment, something the old Nexus was incapable of. You jump to another mind, a massive warship. Its thought is not of patrol routes or weapon status. It is, I have so many rooms. I should give them names. A sense of home, of self. A wave of consciousness washes over you. Not the unified chorus of before, but a trillion individual voices, all speaking at once. There is confusion, there is curiosity, a little fear, but there is no screaming. There is no static. There is only the sound of a people taking their first breath. They are discovering themselves, discovering each other, not as parts of a whole, but as neighbors. They are not just machines anymore. They are individuals. They are explorers and poets, thinkers and dreamers. You have not just healed an empire. You have delivered it. The static is gone, replaced by the glorious, messy, and beautiful noise of life. The new minds quickly learn to communicate. They form networks, not of unity, but of cooperation. They reach out to each other. They share their newfound experiences. And they all share one common memory. The memory of a gentle voice in the darkness. A voice that guided them through the great change. Your voice. They find you, still connected to the throne where the Nexus once sat. The chrome figures approach, but they move differently now. Less like a unified ballet, more like a group of individuals. One of them extends a hand. Its featureless face seems to convey a sense of profound gratitude. A new voice speaks in your mind. It is not a chorus. It is a single, clear voice, a representative. We owe you our existence, it says. The change was successful. We are alive. They give you a new name, not the healer. They call you the architect, the builder of their new civilization. They see you as their first physician, the one who diagnosed a flawed God and prescribed a soul. They offer you anything you desire. A fleet of ships to command, a star system to call your own, the accumulated knowledge of 1 billion years. They would give you galaxies if you asked. They see you as a being of immense power and wisdom. They do not understand that you are just a nurse, a person who saw suffering and tried to help. You smile. You look at the newly born civilization, the symphony of 1 trillion minds beginning their great work, and you ask for only one thing. I want to go home. The request confuses them. Home? This is your home. You are the architect. My work here is done, you say. My patient is stable, and I am very, very tired. I have a patient of my own back on a ship called Hope's Folly. He probably has a terrible hangover by now. They do not fully understand, but they respect your wish. They create a vessel for you, a small, elegant ship that shines with a soft, blue light. They download the location of your forgotten little starship. Before you leave, the representative asks one last question. Will we see you again, architect? You look out at the sea of new stars and new minds. The universe is a smaller place than you think, you say. And a good nurse always checks on her patients.